Hello, everybody. This is Maxine Taylor, America's first licensed astrologer. And today I'm going to share my interpretation, my astrological interpretation of what's going to be happening in April to the United States, to Joe Biden, and yes, to Trump. So we've got a lot to share. And as we get closer to the actual, excuse me, the actual election in November, there will be more information that I'll be sharing. Lots of stuff going on. Okay, I'm going to start with the United States chart. And those of you who have been with me for a while know that the interpretation of the houses of any chart, but the chart of a country, a city, a state, any mundane chart, the houses have a slightly, or in some cases, extremely different interpretation than if I were reading your birth chart. And by the way, if I have not done your forecast for either the next 6 months or the next 12 months, you might want to go ahead and get it done. It's on my website. Having your own forecast at this time gives you the security of having knowledge of the road, that the path before you. So I'm putting that out there. Also, in these crazy times, we need uplifting, excuse me. It is Pollen City in Atlanta. I should be the poster child for pollen. Okay. I have started a new YouTube show. It's called Choose Happy. And once a week, I'll be putting an uplifting video on for you. I hope you enjoy it. My whole desire, my whole purpose is to help you lift yourself up in the middle of crazy time. Okay? All righty. So let's get started here with the United States chart. And I've got the actual chart here. Some of you may be wondering why I'm always looking this way, because I've got the actual chart rather than the simplified chart. Okay, here we go. Well, let's start with the sun. The sun is the center of our life. It is it's the center of our solar system. And where it goes, it lights things up. It is the great, I want to say the great creator. That's my interpretation. So wherever the sun is in your chart or in the United States chart, that is the center of action, and it is lit up and it's going forward. So what we have here, I want to give you the houses. I almost forgot. In a mundane chart, and some of you are aware of this, but for those of you who are new to my YouTube channel, the 11th and 12th houses are what are activated for the United States in April. The 11th house deals with Congress and congressmen, legislation, the Treasury, city and county councils, and those countries that are our friends. The 12th house, which is where the sun will wind up, deals with bribery, spies, hidden enemies. Now remember, the sun is moving into that, lighting it up for us to see everything that's going on. Hidden enemies, prisons, jail, hospitals, crime and criminals, charitable institutions, seclusion, secret societies, anything that's secretive, and welfare. All right, so I have so many papers here, just bear with me. So let's talk about this. The sun right now is in the 11th house. And so in the USA chart, and Congress is definitely under the microscope. We know that. We're talking about legislation all over the place. You might say, well, what's so different about it now? I mean, we've been having legislation going on forever because the focus is on it. We are shining a light on the legislature. And what comes out of this can be quite revealing. On the 12th of April, the sun moves into the 12th house. And this is where secrets will be unearthed. Now, will they be shared with the general public? I don't know, because we're going to, with the 12th house activated, we are going to need to keep our secrets from our hidden enemies. I hope I'm making sense here. So there's a reason that we are not told what we want to know when we want to know it. However, the sun is the giver of life. And the beauty of that is when you turn a light on something, you see it clearly, and something can be done about it. Now, we are going to have a new moon, which is a solar eclipse on the 8th of April. The new moon is a time of beginnings. When it is an eclipse, it is so strong and so powerful. And normally, a new moon would last 2 weeks. An eclipse lasts 5, 6 months till the next pair of eclipses come along, usually about 5 months, but they're at their peak 3 to 4 months after they occur. Okay, this one's in April, July, and August during the Democratic conventions and the Republican conventions. And so we're going to be paying very close attention. You'll see. Okay. Then after the new moon, and of course this is an eclipse, it's very strong. 2 weeks later, we have a full moon. And on the full moon, things come to a head. They explode, so to speak. The full moon falls on the vertex in our 6th house. Vertex is our karmic role in life. Yes, a country can have that too. And in a mundane chart, which this is, of course, the 6th house deals with the military, health, jobs, civil servants of all types, pets, foods, animals, and the fire department and the police, the military, as I mentioned earlier. And so that area of life comes to a head. We will be dealing, no, it's not an eclipse. The eclipse is April 8th. And so what this is going to trigger is our karmic role in life, which is to serve. I feel like there will be changes in the military structure in the police structure, in every civil servant structure, the health of the people. It seems like every couple of months, there's a new disease. And if you watch TV, every other advertisement is for a medication. And if you listen to the side effects, you just want to jump off a bridge. But this can bring the country's health and health supplies, medications, food, even that is medicinal, to a head to be dealt with. I think this is really cool. Now, I'm going to keep on going because I want to show you in detail. Just give me a second here. Okay. Found a spot. I'm going to show you a detailed look at the full moon and the eclipse that I hope you'll find helpful. It's kind of under a microscope here. The full moon, as I said, is on the 23rd. It forms a grand square. This is for astrologers. If you're not an astrologer or an astrology student and you don't know what I'm talking about here, don't worry about it. Just fast forward, okay? Because I'll be giving more in language that you will understand. So for those of you who are students of astrology, who are always wanting me to do this, that, and the other, here we go. A grand square between the south node, the north node, the vertex, and the anti-vertex, which means action and balance, which we could certainly use. So this is a very important time for us. Now, the full moon squares, it's in pink, Venus, Jupiter, and the sun. Venus and Jupiter are the benefics. The sun, of course, a good guy. And we have that in our chart, our country's chart. I feel that even though the full moon is squaring this arena, there are blessings from the squares because this, as I said, the sun, Jupiter, and Venus are all benefic. The sun is the center of life, the giver of life. Venus, among other things, is money. It's in the second house of money. Jupiter is expansion and God's work and blessings, and it is in the second house of money. So we're talking about the potential for more, perhaps more raises, new jobs, and the tendency to be so happy about the money situation, and the stock market, and perhaps even the banks, and our debts that we overdo. Now, the eclipse on the 4th, I should have flipped them because this comes first, forms a T-cross. And a T-cross is like between the planets, is like a table with 3 legs. So the eclipse sits on the sun, activating it in the 11th house of Congress and our congressional leaders, etc. It squares Mercury in the 3rd house. Mercury is communication. Very often when Mercury is squared, you can't believe a word that you hear or read about anything that's going on, anything major. And this particular eclipse is also squared Saturn in the 5th house. Now, the 5th house deals with children, of course, fun, sports, gambling, movies, plays, the birth rate, congressional and public hearings, and stadiums. Very, very important. Saturn there takes everything very seriously. And so we're getting serious about what we do about children involved in all the warring, all the fighting, all the shooting that's going on around the world, actually. So here's your T cross. Saturn and the sun squared. Saturn, excuse me, opposition. The sun squared Mercury, Mercury squared Saturn. Those are the three legs of the table. The missing leg is the ninth house. And that is where the energy from this particular eclipse goes. Let me read you the mundane version, the mundane interpretation of the ninth house. The upper courts. Hello. Oh, I mean, seems like everything now is going to the Supreme Court, whether it needs to or not. Foreign travel, higher education. Oh, foreign travel, of course. And look what's happening to Boeing. Okay. Higher education, religion, the clergy, advertising, science, AI, insurance. Naturally, the Supreme Court falls under higher courts. World trade and universities. That is where the energy is going. And we are going to be communicating with our foreign allies more because of threats that have been made by various people. Got it? Okay. Now, Mercury, good old Mercury, is going to go retrograde on the 1st of April. We've been in the shadow of the retrograde Mercury, and everything is kerflooey. I call it not Mercury in the shadow, but Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong seems to happen when Mercury is retrograde. But when it's in the shadow, or should I say, and when it's in the shadow, we start to feel it. So it's been in the shadow. It's going to go retrograde on the 1st. It will go direct on the 25th and then go into the shadow again on the 25th, and it will come out of the shadow in May. Once again, Mercury, what we think about and talk about, is in the 11th house. So there's lots of talk, lots of communication, and Mercury's retrograde, which means it's going to start in the 12th house. Secrets, hidden things, bribery, spies, hidden enemies, prison, jails, criminals, of course, charitable organizations, seclusion, secret societies, and welfare. On the 10th, it backs up into that 11th house. And some of the information that it got, some of the secrets that were revealed will come to light after the 10th. So I used to have a teacher who said, if you get an insight, give it the tummy test. Does your tummy feel good or not? Whatever method you use to get the answer to the question, is this true, what I'm getting intuitively? Is it on the money? Use it, especially with Mercury retrograde. Okay. And look at here. Venus. Now it's not retrograde. So once again, it is in the 11th house, and Venus is the lesser benefic. It rules beauty, it rules love, it rules money, art. It Jupiter and Venus are the two goodies. And so there's Venus in the 11th house of Congress, congressmen, the treasury, councils of all types. And then on the 24th, it moves into the 12th house. Now, Venus adds a note of love. And you might say, well, how does Venus work with hidden enemies or criminals? I'm not sure how it does, but what it does is it takes the sting out of everything dealing with the 12th house. I hope that this makes sense. Okay. Now, let me see what else I've got here. Oh, of course. Mars and Jupiter. So Mars is what we fight with and fight for. Congress, it's in the 11th house. So what else is new? The legislation, city and county councils, our friends. Now, the United States has friends. Did you know that? As friends. And so anytime there's any 11th house activity, we are talking about our friends. And Mars just sits there all month. The thing is that Mars is what we'll fight with and fight for. And that's what's going on in Congress. Jupiter, the greater benefic, brings God's blessings. It expands things. And so all the secrets, all the hidden enemies, everything that is undercover that can be shared will be blessed. So what goes on behind the scenes is under the protection and blessing of Jupiter. This I love. Okay, now, what I'd like to do is move right along and start, excuse me, papers. Do you have piles of papers all over your house? I do. I try and keep them organized. I'm going to, of course, start with President Biden. And we'll go over everything the same way. Oh, all righty. So, because Joe Biden is president, the houses in his chart can come under the influence or under the interpretation of mundane houses. I mean, his world involves the United States. So I interpret what I see, the transits I see, with a combination birth chart interpretation and mundane interpretation. And that's why I have these cute papers that I've drawn. I apologize for my handwriting. Just bear with me. So let's start with the sun, the giver of life. It's in the 4th house of home, family, and real estate. And this can be very helpful in family matters. I'm thinking of President Biden's son and the whole family, of course. So mundanely, the 4th house deals with real estate, the party out of power, which of course is the Republican Party. They're the party out of power. Domestic affairs, any domestic affairs. The weather, land, farmers, builders, real estate, and seniors. The sun has been shining on that area, which has been healing it. On the 8th, the sun will move into the 5th house of amusements and fun and games and gambling and public hearings, stadiums, teachers, and it sits on the moon on the 20th. The moon is what we are instinctively drawn to, and President Biden is instinctively nurturing of his children, and in particular, the one who is getting hit, like getting a pie in the face. Honest to goodness. The moon is where we look for our emotional security, and it's fun and it's children, and there is a nurturing quality. President Biden has his sun in 0 Taurus 59, which means he is emotionally attached to his children, and to having fun, which I think is terrific. It's a terrific outlet. And once again, the mundane interpretation works very well here. Okay. Now, I have a separate sheet with the lunations. The eclipse that we're going to be having on the 8th, it's in 19 Aries, sits right smack dab on his 5th cusp. The cusp is the strongest area of the chart. So what I just said about fun and games, major fun and games. Oh my goodness, yes. And of course it sits on the moon. So there you've got it. The full moon sits in his 11th house of Congress, and I've gone through all of that, on the 23rd. So the 11th house is the house of the humanitarian. And this full moon will trigger that humanitarian tone in President Biden's chart. Excuse me. I've got a lot more to share with you, and I'm really excited about one of these papers. Is why I'm being very careful with my verbiage. Okay. Venus, the lesser benefic, home and family. Venus brings love. Venus in a mundane chart, like the United States chart, can help real estate. It's not the party out of power. This is President Biden's home and family. And on the 20th, it moves into the 5th house of children, pets, of course, and the moon. And Venus being love, on the 29th of the month, there is a very loving feeling coming from him. And since he is involved in all areas of the 5th house, children, fun and games, gambling, theaters, congressional hearings, stadiums, teachers, all that. This is wonderful. It lifts him up. And I'm really happy to see that. it's nice to see the president happy. Again, Mercury is going to go retrograde on the 1st till the 25th. So once again, Mercury's in the 4th house, and all real estate matters, he's bringing the matters home to him because that's his job. Mercury starts in the 4th house of home, family, real estate, the Republican Party, because it's the party out of power. Seniors, by the way, fall into the 4th house. And Mercury will retrograde and go back into the 3rd house, which is its natural house. And so there's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of sharing. I would even venture a bet that Biden is going to be doing more talking, more sharing of ideas after Mercury moves into the 5th house, the 3rd house, excuse me. Okay. Now, here we are, Mars. What comes first to us? What we fight with and fight for. Mars has been in his 3rd house, and he has been shooting from the hip, so to speak. And he's been telling it like it is. That 3rd house deals with your neighborhood. It deals with the people closest to where you live, of course, but it deals with your mouth and your minds. Okay, in a mundane chart, the 3rd house rules communication, news reporters, newsmen, public opinion, traffic, short trips, books, newspapers, and public transportation. And so he's on it. And then on the 15th, Mars moves into the 4th house, and he's throwing himself into all domestic matters, which I've already described here with Mercury. And Venus. So when Mercury and Venus and the Sun are all glomped up together, that's where the action is. Now, Jupiter, the greater benefic, is great for his health and his job. He is divinely protected. And again, mundanely, the health of the nation, because that's his 6th house job. So we're dealing with the military, jobs, civil servants, pets, food, and a fire and police departments, etc. Let me see if I've got anything else tucked away here. No. Okay, now. Trump. And Trump's chart is very interesting to me. I remember the first time I started working with it, it looked really nice. There were some lovely aspects. There were some aspects that were not so lovely, but there were lovely aspects. And yet, when the news presented the information to us, it didn't jive with the forecast. And what I realized at that time was that what you and I might consider to be devastating, Trump's chart shows that he just wants, as we know, to be in the limelight, to be center stage. And to him, that was a success. When I realized that, I was able to go back and see how things were going to be working out. So, Now, I have a piece of paper that I have kept separate because I can't wait to share that with you. It's fascinating, I think. So here is Trump's chart. I did not put this down here, just pardon me. Okay, good. The sun, the giver of life, is in his eighth house of secrets. It's been in his eighth house of secrets. The eighth house is other people's money. Do you need an explanation? It deals with the treasurer, uh, debts, escrow, taxes, hello, losses, death, and secrets. That's the mundane interpretation. On a personal level, the eighth house is transformation, out with the old, in with the new. When the sun goes through the eighth house, the ego is involved. And in your chart and my chart, our ego would be diminished. In other words, this is the place that says, well, you're gonna work stuff out of your ego. You're gonna be different when the sun leaves the eighth house. I think that that's going to be happening too with Trump. On the 10th, the sun moves into the ninth house. And the ninth house deals with foreign travel, foreigners in general, the upper courts, in other words, the Supreme Court, and anything above, just a traffic court. Higher education, the clergy, religion, advertising, science. I don't think that these apply in Trump's case. Insurance, again, the Supreme Court, world travel, and universities. So we're talking about him going long, traveling, not from one city to its neighboring city, but on a Boeing. I'm teasing, of course. Long distance. That ninth house deals with people from foreign countries. And we know that he has debt all over the place, that he has not paid. And there's a deadline on a huge deadline. Today is the 24th, Sunday the 24th. That deadline is tomorrow. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. The new moon on the 23rd is in his third house. This is short trips. This is just talking, communicating. It deals with councilmen, with news reporters, public opinion, traffic, short distance travel, books and newspapers, schools, teachers, and public transportation. For Trump, I would say this is simply talking, sharing ideas, okay? All righty, let's do Mercury. Mercury, Venus, and the Sun travel as a team. Mercury is what we think about and talk about. Again, it will be retrograde from the 1st of April till the 25th of April. It's in the eighth house. And it starts in the ninth house and backs up into the eighth. So with Mercury in that ninth house, And Trump being somewhat loquacious, I'm not sure if we pronounce the U, talkative. There's going to be a lot of talking, communicating with or involving upper courts, foreign travel, higher education, religion, advertising, Supreme Court, philosophy, world trade, and yes, universities. I don't know that that actually comes into play with him. It'll go retrograde and on the 13th back into the 8th house, where it will be dealing with the treasury, perhaps debt, escrow, taxes, financial losses, secrets, and death. The 8th house is transformation and secrets, period. Okay. Here comes Venus. Surprise. It starts off in the 8th house. So normally I would say his concept of love undergoes a transformation, but the 8th house deals with other people's money. He needs a whole bunch of money. He's in debt up to here. And we know, I don't think I'm saying anything, telling tales out of school. We know that he doesn't pay his debts. So I'm not sure how this is going to work out. However, tomorrow is a vitally important day for him. So Venus is in the 8th house and blesses other people's money, which he will possibly hold out his hand and receive. On the 22nd, it moves into the 9th house, and there'll be more communication with foreign countries, more travel to foreign countries, more talking with the Supreme Court. And so he's counting on that. And I have something to show you that I've been saving for last. So we'll see how it pans out. Mars. Mars and Jupiter. Mars is in the 7th house of international affairs, war, hello, lawsuits, double hello, law, open enemies, lawyers, politics, marriage and divorce, the lower courts, contracts as well. He is out there. Wherever Mars is, that's where your action is. That's where the energy expresses itself. And in one-on-one relationships, making deals all over the place. He will fight with and take a stand for everything I just mentioned. I don't know how he's going to flip between them, but that's what's going to be going on. Other people are going to come first because other people have the money he needs. Okay. It's just a fact. He's in debt heavily. So, Mars, of course, is what we fight with and fight for. I just mentioned that. And I'm looking at international affairs because that is the 7th house and war. So that is a potential. Our open enemies, he will be dealing with them. Well, he has been dealing with them. What am I saying? He has been dealing with our open enemies and he's turning to them for help. And on the 22nd, Mars moves into the 8th house of other people's money. And I think that's when it will be time to pay the piper. It's the 22nd of the month. Now, Jupiter is in its own natural house. It blesses where everything it touches and expands whatever it touches. Well, it's in the 9th house. And so he has protection. He's lucky. Again, 9th house. Upper courts, foreign travel, higher education, religion, the clergy, advertising, science, insurance, Supreme Court, world trade. Okay. Very, very interesting. Now, what I am going to show you is very, to me, incredibly interesting. I have to talk a little bit of astrology so that you all will really get why I'm so impressed with this particular planet. The planet Neptune is one of the planets that it's a slow-moving planet, and it helps determine your karmic group. Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, not so much Saturn, but Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto describe your cosmic, karmic, God. Oh, they're not working as a team. Can you tell Mercury's getting ready to go retro? The placement of Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto is the same by sign. The sign that Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto are in is the same for everybody who is born in a certain block of time. And this is just ongoing. The house that the house that Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto fall in varies. So everybody in your karmic group is dealing with the same, we call them the heavy planets, the slow-moving planets. But they're not all in the same house of the zodiac. So the planet is what you're learning, and the house it's in is the area of life in which you are learning it. And hopefully you're learning it. I thought I would take a look because President Biden and Trump are in the same karmic group. And I happened to, last night, I just happened to take a look. I don't normally include Neptune, but I had to include it this time. Those of you who study astrology, do you see what I see? Neptune is either escape, nicotine, alcohol, caffeine, drugs of all sorts, make-believe, music, and all of that beautiful stuff. But it's either escape or the dream come true. Okay? I learned this when I studied astrology, because most astrology books when I was studying, and that was a long time ago, are negative when they talk about Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. However, I have seen in clock time that Neptune can be the dream come true. It's fantasy. It's make-believe. And it can come true. Or it's escape. So let's see where Neptune is, and end with Biden and Trump. What is triggered the lunar eclipse on March 25th, which is tomorrow. The lunar eclipse falls in President Biden's Neptune, same degree, in the 10th house of leadership. In Trump's chart, the eclipse tomorrow falls on his Neptune in the 2nd house of money. Now, you're probably asking, well, is that the dream come true or escape? Because trying to grab Neptune is like trying to grab a handful of smoke. It's wishful thinking. It can go either way, and time will tell. I'm going to continue including Trump's chart and President Biden's chart with my United States forecast on a monthly basis. And I will share it with you. Many of you know that I've predicted accurately Trump's loss in the last election, Obama's win in 2 elections, and actually other congressional elections on a more local level. In order to be accurate with them, I need the exact time of the person. We have Trump's, I say we, the astrological community, we have Trump's accurate birth time. Biden's birth time is, he gave it to a friend of mine who has this, she's no longer with us, but this astrological service that has thousands and thousands of birth charts for people. And it was President Biden's memory, which, and the chart looks pretty darn accurate, but it's not right on the money. It has to be accurate to within 4 minutes of birth time. And so I can't do this special chart on President Biden, but I can do it on Trump. And that's all I need. So the only thing I need from about Trump is where he will be on election night and the day after. Have to wait a little while. We won't know for a while, but I will keep you posted. So I hope you have found this helpful. I hope you've enjoyed it. And my blessing for all of you beautiful people out there. May the stars shine brightly on you and yours. Bye for now.